Thank you everyone for joining us. We are here today with Professor Takeuchi, and we will talk about research that combines robots and life, technology and cells. So if you could tell us a little bit about your research. How I understand it, it seems very diverse. It seems that you are saying that now we cannot build a full robot. We don't have full capacity to make a perfect robot. We also cannot make a full human or a full living being. We can't make, I don't know, zombies. But you're saying that we can take what we know, how to make robots and how to make life and cells and how to reproduce cells, make cells grow, and kind of combine those two, bring those two things together. So could you tell us a little bit about how this?
Yeah, we are very much interested in making the biohybrid systems where we actually use the biological materials combined with the artificial systems. Because so far, I'm a kind of engineer, especially the mechanical engineer. So we actually developed a lot of the convenient systems to change the world much better and convenient and so on. So for example, so we developed robot. The engineer develops humanoid robots, or smartphones, or self-driving cars. But yet, we still cannot make the very much attractive functions that the biological systems have in nature. For example, the highly sensitive molecular detection at the dog nose.
Yeah, like a dog's nose can smell amazing distances, amazing things, right? Or a mosquito can smell like human being from far away, but we are not able to do this with our...
So even the dogs can recognize the patients of COVID-19 or something like that. Yeah, so that they have their very much, wonderful sensors on its nose. But we cannot create such kind of highly sensitive and selective sensors. And also, if you take a look at just the living cells, they can actually proliferate by themselves and they can heal by themselves. So those kind of materials cannot be made by only using the artificial materials yet. And also, if you take a look at our brains or muscles, they have the amazing they actually worked at the amazing power consumptions. So highly efficient actuations, highly efficient processing, muscles and the brain. So that those kind of systems is very much hard to build by the artificial systems. So that's our idea is that if we cannot create the whole biological systems from scratch, why not using the biological materials just combine into the artificial systems? So that is a kind of concept of our biohybrid systems that we are now working on.
So these biohybrid systems, it's a bit hard for me to imagine. So how do you take some electronic device, some microchip, some robotic little robot, and you just put some living material, some cells on top of it or inside of it? Or how do you make these things connect to each other? How can they?
Yeah, that's a kind of very, difficult. For example, we developed, biohybrid actuators. Do you know actuator? No. Actuator is a kind of the motor, the kind of the element that can make the actuations. So the motor.
So in a machine, something that makes something move.
So for example, a human being has an actuator. The human being's actuator is a kind of muscles. So that if we want to put, for example, if we want to make a kind of biohybrid actuators by using the living muscles, so we actually culture the living muscle cells into the living muscle tissues by using the state-of-the-art tissue engineering method, and then combine into the tissue with the 3D printed finger bone-like structures. So that's when we apply the voltage between the muscle tissues, they can actually make a contraction motions. And that kind of motion can pull the finger back and forth, so that we can actually move the finger bone-like structure by the power of the living muscles.
So you have almost like a plastic thing or like the bone structure, and then you grow the cells, you put them, I guess, line by line, make them into kind of muscles, looking like a muscle. You put it around this finger structure, and then as electricity goes into the muscle, the finger actually starts moving.
Yeah. It's not covered around the surface of the fingers. So we just put the 3D tissues nearby the finger bone-like structures, and then connect it to the joint. and then actually when they make a contraction motions, they actually pull or rotate the joint so that they can move back and forth like this.
And so what kind of uses does this kind of technology have? What are the future vision? What's the widest dream what we could do?
Yeah, currently we don't have exact application of our biohybrid actuators, but for example, so that kind of actuator can work at a very low energy. Actually, we just need a chemical energy, and the chemical energy can be efficiently transferred to the mechanical motions. That is a very advantageous compared to the one we actually use the other type of motors or actuators. We can actually, the actuator itself is a very flexible materials and soft materials, and when they hurt it, or when they have that damage, they can actually self-healing after 1 or 2 weeks for another cultivation and so on.
So you can use it for a long time. It doesn't get broken quickly.
Basically. So currently we can just, maintain the actuator just for 1 month or something like that, but we can elongate the lifetime much more.
Okay, and I'm wondering if some other viewers are wondering still, like, so what is it good for, right? Like, why do we want this?
Because eventually their motions can be mimicked like the one we are now moving, so that we can generate the human-like motions. So that, for example, so if you actuate my fingers, so there is no sound, so it's very silent motions we can generate. But if you want to make a robot hand by using the artificial materials, so you can actually generate human-like motions. But since they use electromagnetic motors or other type of the artificial motors, they actually make a sound.
So it's like
that's a kind of far from the living features and so on. So that what we want to mimic the whole human beings, like in the motions or sensing or something like that, that using the living materials is a one choice.
And what will we use this kind of robots for, or is it also for?
You mean the biohybrid robot?
Yeah, or this kind of technology, is it for replacing a hand, or what is?
So there are, I think so. As I said, so there are not so much focused applications. I mean, no killer application yet. But if we can mimic the whole biological system like a human beings, so we can say that we know how the human beings is constructed. Also, we know the kind of secret of the human beings or biological system itself by creating the system from scratch.
So we will actually understand humans and life better.
Or how the muscles moves and how do they heal by themselves or something like that. So it's kind of the scientific activity to create the whole biological systems by using the living cells and so on.
And of course, this will be very useful for medicine and so on.
And the medical research as well, yeah.
So, but I'm still surprised how you do say that, look, we're doing this research, but it doesn't necessarily, we don't yet know how it's going to be useful, right? We don't yet know the practical use. And that really...
Of course, there are a lot of these scientific fictions that the human-like robot can help the humans, like human beings and so on. So that's a kind of the long future goal. But for just 10 years ago or 5 years ago, so we just want to know how the living systems is created.
And that connects to the theme of the UT7 kind of group of a team of professors, that the idea of UT7, as I understand, is that first is curiosity. We don't think about exactly in 5 years, 10 years, how we will make this a very practical, very useful thing. We don't think too hard about quick results, quick benefit, quick profit, quick something, but we are letting our own curiosity be like the fuel, our own personal curiosity and love of research, our joy of research, our wonder. We let it guide us like a fuel, and then it will eventually, like science usually does, lead to perhaps amazing benefits. Is that the kind of way you are thinking, or how do you see UT7? What does it mean for you?
Okay, so that so we are kind of researcher, and it's kind of the basic researchers. So if we just focus on the applications, or if we just focus on the useful, or why we are now doing for the what kind of purpose or what kind of application is needed or something like that. It's kind of the mission-driven research. But when I was young, I just want to do what I want to do. And for example, say in the Japanese elementary school, in the summer, in summer times, so elementary school student gets a kind of homework for their summers. So the most popular homework is a kind of the 自由研究. 自由研究 is a kind of, how to say, free research. I don't know the English name of 自由研究. 自由研究ってなんて言うんですか?
Independent free research.
Yeah, independent free research or something like that. You can do anything you want as a research topic. So I love such kind of the activity. So that's why I want to be a researcher in the university. But if I become the professors, so I just I cannot do the how to say independent free research by by myself. So every time I do the research, I need to get the research fund from the government. So in that case, I need to explain why I want to do that. So that's true. And that's a kind of the necessary things. But to tell the truth, I just want to do I just focus on the 100% curiosity-driven research.
One of the very world-class research that I know you are doing, one more that we didn't talk about yet, is the cultured meat.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe could you tell us a little bit about that? So you are able to, I think this is pioneering research in the world that you are doing, that you're able to take these cells from meat, put the cells together and have that meat kind of become like a tissue of meat and really start feeling like meat, and maybe grow it in a size that one day we will be able to eat this kind of meat, that we don't need to kill so many animals, we don't need to cut down so many forests to feed all the animals that we are eating, we don't need to create so many CO2 emissions from producing beef. So from an environmental perspective, from the perspective of saving our planet and all of life on this planet, this does sound like very
promising. Oh yeah. So everybody says, everybody who are doing the cultured meat says that, of course, the cultured meat is good for the animals, environment, and so on. So about who knows? So because the cultured meat industry itself is only gets started, so that in the Singapore or US or something like that, so that they don't have so much huge factories or something like that. So if there are a lot of the factory focus on the cultured meats, maybe they have some impact to the cultured environment or something like that. And also the currently they still use the animal derived materials and so on. So that's we still need a basic research to improve the cultured meat studies, maybe more than 10 years or something like that. But I believe that after so much innovations inside the cultured meat studies, so we can make the very nice society. We don't have to kill the animals so much, and we can make the meat without having the impact to the environment.
And of course, as you know, there is pushback against it. So just today there was news that the government of Italy just banned this kind of meat, the lab-made meat, the cultured meat. So because they say this will hurt our farmers, this will hurt our traditions of food making, this is, and of course they say this is dangerous and so on. So how do you view this kind of social, political, economic?
That's quite understandable. So because there are so much people in the world, and if if we develop the new technologies, the new technology has a kind of the advantage or disadvantage or something like that. And I believe the cultured meat is only a one choice. And there are many other choices to change the world much better regarding the livestock industries or environmental impact and so on. So that I quite understand that some society bans the cultured meat or other type of new technologies, but some society encourage or promotes the new technology and so on. There are many people in the world, so such kind of diversity is very important.
So you will not get involved in the debate to make a case for cultured meat and why we...
In Italy, you mean?
That kind of, you will not start debating publicly, say this is good, we should do it. You're just saying we have this technology.
Yeah, we also have, so I have a lot of the, sessions or seminars or talking event regarding the cultured meat in the society, in the general people. But I don't want to force them to eat the cultured meat. So I just want to say the cultured meat is just one choice for our future meat. Yeah.
And so I think this still sounds like a kind of very freedom kind of loving attitude, that you are saying you want to just do this research, you think it is interesting, you think it's worthwhile, things will come out of it, the inventions will come out of it, new technologies, new opportunities, but you're also not saying we should use it, we should do this, we should do that. You're just saying here is something, and you see.
Oh, of course, yeah, that's correct. Of course, we believe, or I believe, that our technology might be change the world much better, but I don't want to force them to use our technology or to to get familiar with or something like that. So, but I just want to explain this technology is good and this technology is safe, or maybe change the world much better. So.
And one thing it will change, and I think UT7 as a whole is also saying, is it will change what life means and how we understand what is life. I think for many people it is quite incredible, and for me too, to imagine even that now we are able to just take cells from an animal and then recreate meat. And we're taking cells and we're recreating skin, and we're making these systems where you have electronics and like biological life all mixed up together. How do you even pull it apart anymore? What is life? What is not life? How life begins? Who makes life? What is human? So how do you view this kind of change, and how do you feel about it? I think this would be my final question. As how do you see that?
That's a very difficult question. So I even cannot say that what is life right now, and I think the sense of life or the concept of the life change every day or every time, right? So that once a new technology develops, so our way of thinking or our way of thinking what is a life is always changing. So that's the important things. We have to think about such kind of things. So we should not to stick to only a single concept of their life, because the concept of life always change by the times. So that what UT7 want to do is to stimulate the society by using our newly developed technologies, and then change our concept of the life. That's the kind of our missions.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.